Sometimes I sit back and wonder what it all means. What seems to be my greatest weakness, along with pride and self-esteem. Cause
I just realized that, like, even with the Harlem Renaissance, for example, when it comes to critiquing each other, Zora Neale Hurston, everybody ain't like Zora Neale Hurston, everybody ain't like Richard Wright. They ain't even like each other sometimes. They used to go back and forth. We need to be able to do that, but like you said, we have to do it in a tasteful way. I am not going to publicly bash my fellow brother or sister's anything, but privately, I'm gonna rip yo. Woo! That's me. Anybody know me that they know, I'm gonna be like, yeah, she gonna. But on public, I'm not gonna put a thing up that says this was garbage. I'm just not gonna do that out of respect.
I think it'd be good to do it in a, like we were saying, a constructive way where it's like, yeah, I'm a huge fan of this filmmaker, but especially when it's someone that has more under their belt. I think it's also an interesting question when it's someone's like first big project. My question would be, are we now in an era where Black people get second chances?
I think it's the whole cancel thing that we do, that cancel culture, right? It dies down after a while. You can come back around in a couple of more years. You be back. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, people get all upset. She'll be back in about a year.
Kanye been canceled 50 times. Like, I feel like it's the whole cancel stuff is, yeah, people just get mad for a week and then they'll be mad about something else the next week. So unfortunately, I don't know if there's anyone that's been permanently canceled. There's people that it'll just take a longer time to come back, but Mel Gibson came back. All these people come back eventually. And I don't believe people should be canceled. I believe in
me neither.
Education and I feel like having dialogues with people, like, to me it's funny, like the same people that are for prison reform and defunding police are often the same people trying to cancel everyone, and those things don't go hand in hand. Like, those are opposite emotions, and if you are really about forgiveness and giving people second chances and rehabilitation, you wouldn't be trying to cancel everyone. And that's my
Well, what do you do when you're in situations with mixed company where you are forced to defend the Black project that you don't agree with? Do you soften your perspective? You don't defend it?
I don't.
Nope.
Yeah, there's a certain show I won't mention. There's several shows. It's not the one you're thinking about, a different show. I remember when this show came out, and I was in the writer's room at that time, mostly white people. Cool white people, though. And this show came out, and one of the whites was like, "Oh, how do you like this show?" Because sometimes they think you like everything. I'm like, I don't like that show, and they're like, "Oh, well, I thought this scene was pretty funny. I liked it." I'm like, "No, I don't like it." And the other white dude who keeps it real, he's cool. He's like, "Yeah, that show's horrible." I'm like, so I appreciate him for keeping it real rather than, others trying to appease me and think just because I'm Black. Oh, I'll never forget this. This was years ago, but back like when 12 Years a Slave came out, I worked at this daycare in a white neighborhood. My boss was white. And she just came up to me, I just have to let you know, I saw 12 Years a Slave. Why the fuck you letting me know that? I don't care. Such a sad movie, because, he wasn't supposed to be a slave. He was free. I'm like, well, no one was supposed to be a slave. What do you mean?
Exactly.
Like, oh, well, I like to say stuff to, see the blood boil. So I feel like a lot of times, I think that's the problem, honestly. A lot of times, white people pretend to like stuff just because it's and champion stuff that's not even good because they don't want to be seen as racist. So they'll put out garbage stuff, and then when actual Black people don't resonate with it, they're all shocked. I think just because we're Black, we automatically like anything that has a Black person. absurd.
I think if we don't say how we truly feel, we send the false impression that we agree with it. So we have to be honest. I mean, just like with anyone else, you would expect them to be truthful about it. Or because it's a popular thing to do, you know, you would be seen as a problematic white man maybe if you said you didn't like it, you know. And so I think it's super important that we say what we like and what we don't like, even if it's our own art in the presence of mixed company, so that they understand that all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and all of y'all don't represent all of us. So yeah.
That's a hard thing to translate though to people outside of the community, because that's what I was saying in terms of having to be forced to be in between and say, okay, look, let me break this down for you. And I hate to have to even have that conversation because it's none of their business. But when it comes to staffing, it's like, if you're not clear on the same page about level of sensibility and you're like, okay, great, that's the voice for everybody, that's a good person to choose, then that's a problem. So like, yeah, you're right that we literally don't have a choice. But I do think it's interesting when looking at staffing considerations, especially on the industry side, but also like I was saying, in terms of allowing people to have their next or second opportunity based off of those other projects.